In a special series on education, we've taken a close look at the achievement gap issue that has Prince George's schools scoring lower than most districts across the state.
In today's edition of Children Come First, Natalie Wilson examines the progress that's been made in recent years.
Our series Children Come First, we take an in-depth look at the school system's achievements. From AP test scores to turnaround schools, here's a look at progress in the county. Despite having to deal with academic and economic challenges, there is a lot that is working in the Prince George's County school system. Test scores have seen a noteworthy increase. On the Maryland School Assessment, 6th grade math scores have increased by 84% and reading scores by 30% since 2004. Significant progress has also been achieved at all levels between 3rd and 8th grade, with most proficiency levels in both reading and math jumping more than 20% within the last 8 years. The number of highly qualified teachers has also increased across the school system, including in high poverty areas. The number of teachers certified as advanced professionals has increased from 34.3% in 2003 to 62.8% in 2011. Recently, Prince George's County was one of less than 400 school districts nationally recognized on the College Board's Advanced Placement Achievement List. From 2009 to 2010, the school system increased the number of students participating in AP classes by offering them to a broader population.
4 years ago, we implemented a program to ensure that all students had access to AP courses by making sure AP courses were in all schools. Then we wanted to eliminate some of these artificial barriers for certain students to enroll in the AP course. So it's not where you scored historically in math or where you scored historically in science. We wanted to open it up for any students who were interested. And what we're finding is that students who are enrolling in those AP courses are beginning to achieve at very high levels, particularly with our Hispanic students and with their African American students. Students who were in the past marginalized with respect to AP because either it was not in their school or was not available to them.
The number of Hispanic students enrolled in AP courses jumped from 22 to 38% between 2009 and 2010, and the number of students scoring a 3 or higher increased as well. 26% of African American students were enrolled in AP classes in 2009, and those numbers increased to 32% the next year. More than 17% scored a 3 or higher in 2010. In the College Board's 7th annual AP report to the nation, Maryland's advanced placement program ranked #1 for the 3rd year in a row. The announcement came at one of Prince George's County's most competitive high schools, Eleanor Roosevelt.
But that doesn't seem to be, that you're #1 doesn't seem to be what is important. What seems to be important in this state is that you're not satisfied with being #1, that you want every single student to have access to a quality education and then have access to college.
Roosevelt was recognized for having the largest number of African American students score a 3 or higher on exams in AP English and Composition, AP Biology, and AP Chemistry.
And it's really a testament to all of the teachers, not just the AP teachers who have these students when they go into that grade, but all starting in 9th grade and encouraging these young people that this is what you're going to see in 11th grade.
Well, Alicia Robinson is taking 7 AP classes.
They're very challenging. A lot of the science classes require a lot of work. The first quarter is just the adjustment phase. I had a lot of work piling up on me. It was kind of hard to keep it all in place, but after that it gets easier. It really helps me see how prepared I am for college. I don't regret taking it at all because all the subjects interest me.
In closing the achievement gap, the county's top priority is meeting the needs of students, but also changing the way teachers and administrators interact with each other.
We want our teachers talking with each other about the science of their practice. We want our teachers talking to each other about what works, what does not. We want to give them the time in order to have those conversations. We want them to be critical and supportive of each other, to say, here are things that worked for my classes with this population. You have a similar population, why don't you try this? So we want all of those things to happen. And we also understand that having a quality administrator in place will help that.
And that type of collaborative leadership has had a tremendous impact on Golson Middle, one of the county's turnaround schools. Prince George's received a $19 million federal grant from the Maryland State Department of Education to improve student progress in the lowest performing schools. The turnaround school model requires the administration to take steps to increase teacher and leadership effectiveness among several other initiatives. While having the title Turnaround helps give schools a fresh start by removing the stigma associated with underperformance, it does have its share of controversy. The model often calls for an administration overhaul, replacing teachers and even principals. But when U.S. Secretary of Education Arne Duncan visited the school, he explained that not being afraid of change can lead to amazing results.
Well, change is hard, but I think what you see here is the proof is in the pudding. Seeing students working so hard, seeing dynamic principals, seeing great teachers. When you talk to parents about how powerful the change has been and how much better the education is, that's what this is about. This is about doing the right thing for children. And I think we have a moral, not just an educational, but we have a moral obligation to challenge the status quo when children aren't learning.
This is difficult work. And this is work where people had suspicion of why we're changing something. They didn't quite understand the whole rationale behind it. People that they had formed relationships with were being replaced. And so to hear parents this morning talk about some critical pieces, I feel more involved in the process. I feel like my child is actually being taught. I feel more supported. Some comments we heard from the teachers, those are the sea changes that we were hoping when we were talking about this whole notion of school turnaround.
One of the things that we did was we went around in the community, to all the communities, not just this one, and educated through the Department of Education, told what the choices were for turnaround schools. And the final decision was left on the board, but we had community input, and the best decision was the turnaround. Now, once that decision was made, it was painful in terms of leadership, to switch the leadership. Didn't too much care for the regulation, but at the end of the day, like the mother said here, it is not about the adults, it's about what's best for our children.
After becoming a turnaround school, Golson adopted a co-principal leadership under the direction of Ebony Cross and Lacey Robinson. Oftentimes, many look to test scores in determining whether or not a school is successful, but today, parents and teachers praise the administration for changing the school's general academic culture, expressing that they feel like they have more support and are more involved with the process of student achievement.
I've been more involved this year alone at this school than any other school that I've been involved in before. And it's just amazing to me the relationships that I've built up already with the two principals, along with Ms. Parks. It's just, I can see the change in my daughter each and every day. So I'm just hoping that a lot of other parents will step out and do the same.
In previous years, the focus from administration has been on discipline. You know, making sure the school is safe has been a main concern, and it's not necessarily been on instruction. But this year, because of the resources that we have and the number of new people that we have in our building, we've been able to focus on both. So while there are people working in the background to get the discipline piece together, you also have people in the background making sure that instruction is still happening.
The turnaround model is still new for Golson, but by building upon the idea of working together, it's already seeing some big payoffs.
Collaboration is one of the keys to success, and our students here at General James Golson Middle School deserve a A+ education, a star education, and that cannot happen unless you have all stakeholders actively engaged in supporting the academic success and achievement of our students.
And it's important that, as we say every day, that it does take a village. It takes a village from from the community all the way up to the Secretary of Education. It's important, not just for General James Golson, but for all schools in Prince George's County Public Schools, that everybody comes together in a collaborative effort so that we can make a difference with our children. One of the things that that Ms. Cross and I, we really encourage with our parents and our staff and our students is just transparency. You know, let's just say what it is so that we can figure out a way that we can make it better. Tell us what's working, let's figure out what's not working, and then let's try something different. So that innovation that Mr. McCray talked about, the open communication that the parents talked about, we are consistently pushing that because we want and we need feedback.
Tune in to CTV News tomorrow for the final installment of Children Come First.